You are listening to Ideas and Leaders podcast. I'm Elena Paweta, Executive Communication Coach and TEDx organizer. With each episode, I'll share with you communication tips and ideas from top business leaders to help you excel in your career. Welcome to the next episode of Ideas and Leaders podcast. Today we are going to speak about energy coaching, about mindfulness, and my guest is Gül Sönmez. She's a transformational energy coach. She's internationally renowned for her ability to channel people's past traumas and buried memories so they can overcome anxieties, self-doubt, and stress in order to live aligned, purposeful lives. Great. Hi, Gül. It's amazing to have you on Ideas and Leaders.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
So your topic is so interesting because I think that so many people need it. We are not thinking, especially in business, and majority of our listeners are in business, we're not thinking about energy. We're not thinking about spirituality a lot. We are thinking about achieving our goals, going for it, and we have some problems on the way. So how did you discover that this working with energy can actually help us to overcome our problems?
Yeah, it's exactly as you said. Actually, I was very success-driven. I was graduated from good university. I had a really good career. I was developing in my career. But it's this year, actually, 2023, is my 10th year in my own healing journey. And back that time, I was having a great promotion in my career. I was very young to promote. Right now, I'm 38. That time I was 28. I became a manager. I had my company car. I had my team. The life was really, really cool. But like everyone, my journey started actually by getting sick. So sometimes we just do not realize that it's all about energy and we need to read these messages. We need to understand. It started with only small little diseases, like I was hurting my knee, like meniscus out of nowhere, and I was hurting my ankle. But when I started to have serious symptoms on my body, I realized that I need to change something. And then around that time, I didn't want to get surgeries. And I'm very left brain focused. I really care about science. I didn't believe in any kind of this work, but I didn't want to get a surgery. So this is why I started this journey, actually.
No, so how did you start with the energy healing, energy coaching? What was your path to healing?
So my path took quite long because first 5 years, I was not interested in sharing it with anyone. Again, that I was very corporate mindset. I was just using all these beautiful energies just for myself. And I was using them to manifest different things in my life. And I loved it. And I was just using it for myself. And I realized I could manifest what I want and change my life. Of course, it was not easy and it didn't happen overnight. But I get out of a marriage that I was not feel aligned. I changed my job. I changed the country that I'm living in. I realized that when I do the internal shifts, external is always shifting. And because of that, I was obsessed with it. I was just reading books and practicing and working with different healers and psychics. And they were always telling me that one day I'm going to be a healer. And I was like, no, I'm going to be a marketing director. I was a marketing manager that time. I was like, no, I know my path. I'm in the corporate. But they were always telling me, and I was just into these things, and I was just learning more and more for myself. But 5 years after the journey that I started for myself, and all the people I work with, they were really pushing me to work with others. And I didn't have this reason to work with others because I was also happy with my career. But one of my friend's son get a brain tumor surgery, and he was in coma after the surgery. He was half paralyzed. He was actually my first client. When the mother asked me, I couldn't say no. I really wanted to say no, but I couldn't say no. And I started working with him first, and I had no idea what I was doing. But I love Rumi. Rumi really shaped my path, the poet. And there's an amazing quote, what you seek is seeking you. I think although it looks like I was healing this boy, he was healing me. And it made me to open up to this idea that I can share it with people. And Luxembourg is a very small country. And the news was out there. Then I started to have some demand, and I worked with one person, the second person, the third person. And on the way, I just start to realize what I'm a bit better. So first I was doing it face to face and I was touching people, but my path is actually I can hear things a bit better, and I perform so good if I don't see you at all. If I can just tune into your energy and read your energy body and just focus on what I hear rather than trying to catch with my left brain again. Is she feeling sad now, or is she looking good now? So when I get rid of it completely, I realize that I can perform better. Then one of my clients accepted this idea, actually. I said, look, I just think I'm better this way. And I started doing sessions just over the Zoom before the pandemic. So I transferred to this before the pandemic. And from there, actually, I can say I learned on the path. Last 5 years, I work with so many people from different backgrounds. And I learned a lot with those sessions, actually. But if we did this interview 3 years ago, I would never tell that I was able to channel or hear, because that time, I thought it was crazy. Like I could never say these things. People would make fun of me. And because I was thinking, of course, people were making fun of me when I tell those things, because again, always the internal reflects external. So I had to work always on myself as well. I'm a constant believing in self-development. I think we are always work in progress, and everything brought me to today.
Wow, you have such an inspirational story. And I think that many people listening to us, they think that, oh, energy healing is woo-woo, something that I don't understand and will never understand. And maybe this is something that just people imagine to themselves. But in fact, many people are using it and find it really useful for themselves, and also use the services of energy healers for their businesses. So how can you explain, maybe, I don't know, in a simple language, let's say, for people who are not into this, how can actually energy coaching help with real life and business goals?
Yeah, very great question. So they can think that it's always about mind, body, and soul together. So when we do those 3 areas of our lives, then we really see tangible. Not just I'm feeling good. It's like I was hating this job and I'm in a new job. I was stuck in this relationship. I'm in a new relationship. I wanted to change the country I am, and now I have all these opportunities. So I'm talking about tangible shifts in the life. So with everyone that I work with, if you want to achieve some tangible shifts wherever you are stuck in your life, whatever the topic, you always need to work on mind, body, and soul. So usually in corporate life, we're pretty trained on to work on the mind. We know how to do it. We know that our mind is very present, and we know, at least most of us know that, okay, we need to train our mind. So this kind of practices can help you to combine these 3. Meaning that you can really tap into this divine energy, whatever you call it. You can call creator, mother nature, divine energy, the creator of all that is, whatever you call that you believe greater than you. These practices kind of teach you and train you how to tune into this energy, which you already have, which you already know. It kind of helps you to get this through the source, so that you can actually feel your body more, you can actually shift your beliefs a bit faster, and you can combine those 3 in one pot. And when you combine those 3 in one pot, and body actually here represents being able to take action, because it's not just we sit and meditate every day and things happen for us. I wish there is such a spiritual practice. There's none. So it's all about combining this. I think energy coaching or any kind of energy work kind of melts those 3 in one pot.
Yeah, so we need, of course, if we use the services of someone like you, who is an experienced person that can guide us, it will be much easier. But do you think that we can do something ourselves, if we want to combine those three parts of us, if we want to receive this inner guidance for ourselves, what can we do? Are there any practices that you can recommend to us for us to achieve our goals, to get rid of our problems?
Yes, 100%. Because you cannot always work with someone. None of your life crisis will hit you. Okay, I have a session now. My crisis, come and hit me. It doesn't happen like this. Usually, the crisis hit us when we're alone. Usually, it happens at night. All my crises hit me when I'm alone at night, and I'm crying on the kitchen floor, and I'm just begging them to help me. And I didn't see anyone who has a major life crisis just before our session. So this is why it is really, really important to learn these techniques, actually, because these kind of sessions will not take away all your fears. These kind of sessions, they're not a magical pill that you take and tomorrow everything will be different. I think it's really important to understand this kind of sessions, or when you start to work with yourself, it teaches you how you can cope with your struggles and how you can shift them to opportunities so that you don't feel stuck, so you know that you can move on no matter what is happening in the life. And sometimes the life is so sunny and it's amazing and it's easier to move on, and sometimes there's a huge wind against you and all you need to do is ride the waves. So I think the first thing is to look at these practices from this perspective, because if you look at them, some magical pill is going to change me. It's so far I never seen a healing like that. And it's my 10th year. I tried everything and I'm still trying. So this is one thing. Second thing, so working with yourself is the basic. And I always say all to my clients, the basics work, but because they're so basic, we don't do it. So I'm sure all of your listeners know the importance of gratitude. Like everybody is telling how important it is. But when you really ask people, but do you really do it every day? Do you really take a time every night to write down the 10 things that you're grateful for and why? They usually say, yeah, no, I just do it here and there. But when you start, for example, it's a very basic practice. It's a very basic mindfulness tool or energy medicine tool. When you do is actually gratitude is this simple an easiest recipe to help you to break the loop. If you're in depressed, if you think that everything is falling apart, first it helps you to come back to now, so that from now you can create where you want to go. This is one thing, for example. Second thing, there are tons of meditations out there. We can also give to your listeners as well. There are meditations, for example, for 10 minutes, you only balance and align your chakras so that you feel this energy, you feel the Mother Earth, or you feel this divine energies more in your body, so that you have less blocks in your body. And when people start to do it, at first, of course, their mind goes to their shopping list in meditation. Their mind goes to their to-do list. They say that, oh, I cannot do it. Everyone that I work with start the same. But after some time, you just realize you can connect better and you can really silence your mind better. Meditation is the second big thing that you can do. And the third one of my favorite is just journaling. You can use either a guided journaling approach, which kind of asks you some questions so you can go to the deepest reason of the roots. But anyone on everything that triggered you, you can journal. If you journal 3 pages, usually you know why it triggered you. So it's also an amazing tool that we can use. And there are so many books, self-help books, that are written in a way so that you can take these journeys by yourself out there. They can just start reading those books. If you want, I can name the books actually. One is
So what maybe you can recommend a couple of books so that we can include it also under the episode, the recommendations from you.
Yeah. So for the self-help, like the books that you can read, but at the same time you can start doing practices, is one of them is Louise Hay. You Can Heal Yourself is one of the best sellers of all times. And there's a reason for it, because this affirmation work really, really work. And she kind of takes you to this journey. This is one. The second one is The Journey from Brandon Bass, I guess. I'm not very sure about the name. Brandon Bass, I'm sure, but I read it in Turkish, so I think it should be, the English translation should be The Journey. It also takes you, it has this exercise in it. And my favorite to do this exercise is Debbie Ford, The Dark Side of Light Chasers. I did that book I think, second or third year of after I started healing. I remember buying that book. I went on a first, after my divorce, went on a first holiday with myself with that book, and I bought a journal with it, and I just journaled all through, because the book kind of guides you in order to look at your dark side, in order to find your dark and light sides. Those three are really, really good place to start.
Thank you for those recommendations, because just today I was planning a long journey next month, and I was thinking, what should I do during this journey? So during those long flights, now I know I'll get the books, I'll get the journals, and I will definitely do this. I will let you know when I'm done. So what we can do is we kind of listen. We can listen to ourselves more, right? So as you said, we need to use those mindfulness tools, meditate, listen to ourselves, listen to our intuition more, journal our thoughts, write down our thoughts. And so how can, because I think that some of the listeners, they don't understand, so how can meditation and sitting quietly and not doing nothing help us to actually achieve our goals faster? Because if we move faster, if we do something all the time from morning to evening, then we will achieve our KPIs faster, probably. So why this approach is more effective?
Yeah, it's a very great question. Usually, you can only understand it after you start practicing it, because when you start practicing it, you start to see how it affects actually. But I'm not talking about if you have big major crisis or trauma. For example, I was going through a divorce or through illnesses, then of course seek for help. So I'm not talking about those things, because when you work with a professional, of course, if you have such a baggage, they help you to get rid of this trauma a bit faster than you did yourself. But for all the other things, so meditation for me, it really helps you to tune in to your inner wisdom, which you already have. But sometimes we don't listen. And most people are highly intuitive. And I see it with women, they're already intuitive actually. But because they don't listen to their intuition, and because we're not raised to listen to our intuition, we're raised to look at the charts, we're raised to look at the data. And I'm coming from this culture. I work with one of the most data-driven companies in the world. So I really, really get it. But sometimes when you just tune in, to your inner self, and when you ask these questions, you have all the answers. But then it's a choice if you want to listen to those answers or not. Because when I talk about intuition, people always think my intuition is going to be so calm and it's going to tell me do something and I'm going to do it and I'm going to be happy. It is not like that, because usually for transformation, for tangible shifts, you need to get out of your comfort zone. You need to try the things. You have a little bit fear around those things. We all have fear. And these kind of things make you realize where you need to put your focus or what you need to do. And sometimes when you hear this message, it comes to your heart, you immediately, in milliseconds, your ego just comes and say 10 reasons why you cannot do it or why you shouldn't do it. So this is why it's really important to hold yourself accountable at this point. Okay, although that I'm scared, I'm going to do this action. So I think this is why all this coaching industry exists, to help people, to make them accountable, to do what they already know.
Yes, definitely. It is so important to have someone who will hold you accountable, because sometimes we know the right things to do, but we are not doing it. Even with such a simple example as sports, we know that in order to be fit and healthy, we need to work out 4 to 5 times a week. But without coach and trainer, sometimes it is so hard to find the motivation to do it. So yeah, same thing here. And I know that you're also doing the mindfulness workshops in the companies. So what are you usually covering during those workshops? So we already mentioned the meditation. What else can we introduce into our working day, or maybe in the mornings or in the evenings, to to make our day more effective?
Yeah, so actually those mindfulness workshops born when I was working in my corporate job. I also started to have my healing job. So I was doing at night just healing session and through the day my work. And then this healing work became so big. I went to my employer and I said, look, can I go part-time because this is growing? And they let me to go to part-time. That time I was working in Amazon headquarters in Luxembourg. So I was working part-time there and doing my other work. And then pandemic situation came and we were all stuck in little tiny houses with lots of responsibilities and everyone was extremely burnout. At this time, my manager came to me, David, and he said, look, I know you're doing a great job with your clients. Can you just create something about the topic mindfulness so that it can help the employees during this time? And I said, yes, I can, because I love this topic. So I created some series about procrastination. Why do we procrastinate? Because we don't procrastinate because of time. We procrastinate because of our fears. Like you say, we want to start the diet or sport. We think that we don't have time, but maybe deep inside, when you're getting skinnier or thinner or fit, you're scared that you're going to leave your partner. It's a good reason to procrastinate. Or you're scared that your coworkers will see and judge you, saying that she's not working enough, she has all the time. So usually we procrastinate because of fear. So I wanted to tell this story. And I did a workshop on this one and they loved it and they asked me to do more. And then the second topic I picked was neck pain, because most people in the companies, they have neck pain or back pain or shoulder pain. And most of my struggles come through my own spine system. So this is why I'm so into the pain of the spine. I wanted to tell them the emotions that are stuck on the neck or on the shoulder. So we just blame the company or the work. Of course, there's a bit effect on just sitting on the computer, but there's also a bit emotional effect where you need to look at it emotionally if you have different pains in different parts of your body. And the other thing that I'm doing is just manifestation, because now the corporate world is changing and people more open to explore this energy healing. And manifestation is actually a very good balance of both feminine and masculine energies, because you put to action, but at the same time you just believe, you use the law of attraction. So this is one topic we do. And lastly, I'm working with female leaders on feminine energy. We're just doing workshops that are helping women how to lead with feminine energy, because we are so used to lead with our masculine side. We just need to balance both, but we don't know how to balance because we killed one side completely, feminine energy in the workspace. In order to balance, first we need to take it up, we need to embrace it, we need to bring to our life. So this is another topic that I work in the mindfulness practices with different companies or organizations. And it's amazing to see that the companies are open for it. And I remember in one of my recent workshops, I just planned one live meditation. And after the live meditation, they came and they say, we're going to skip the lunch break. Can we do another meditation? I was like, okay, let's go for another meditation. Yeah, so I do all sorts kind of things. They are a combination of my corporate life, because I worked in corporate world for 15 years. And so I know this corporate stress, and I know that it's an amazing opportunity for us to shift a bit our mindsets and bring those basic techniques to the workspace. So it's a combination of my years in corporate life, actually.
Wow, this is so great that you're doing those things. And I just love hearing that corporations are open to this, that this is completely new level of developing your employees and investing in your employees. I think that this is something that we really need to develop in our organizations, to develop our employees holistically, not only, okay, let's learn how to do, Excel spreadsheets and PowerPoint presentations, but also how you can develop as a person, how you can be more effective, not only at work, but also at home, in your personal life. So yeah, really love it. So Gül, how, in order to sum up our discussion, what would you recommend to our listeners, maybe several practices, several small things to introduce to their everyday life so that they are better with mindfulness, with their energy, they're more aligned?
Yeah, I always say the basics are the best. So I'm just gonna sum up the basics. The basics are, if you're not doing any meditation, please start from somewhere and don't force yourself to do one meditation that everybody does, because there are different types of meditations and we're all wired differently. For example, for some people, the mantra meditations where you just say om, for example, helps. But for some people, it doesn't resonate. Then you can try guided meditations where it kind of helps your mind to focus on one topic, or you can try silent meditations. So just try different types of meditations and just find out which one is the one that you like. But don't give up and just give yourself some time. It's like a muscle. You build it over time. In the first one, nobody meditates directly. It's a time. You can build that muscle. This is one thing. Second thing I always say, please make sure that you write all the time, because especially for busy corporates, like brain dump, writing whatever is holding your mind can help you. Sometimes when you cannot sleep, you have so many thoughts, so many pressure on your projects or everything. I always say, just get up and put everything on a paper. There's magic in it, because you just brain dump so that you can really calm down. There's magic in writing. I always say, make sure that you have a little journal you can write everywhere. And the other thing is just to start with their amazing self-help books, the ones that we mentioned. You can start with these practices. You can start with those little exercises that are already guided to you. So those are, I would say, the basics that everybody should do. And if you want to explore more in details, of course, then you can reach out to some people to work more in these topics.
Perfect. And if our listeners want to reach out to you and ask you more questions, where can they find you?
Yeah, the best way to find me is my website is purposefulvibes.com. I'm writing weekly newsletters based on the energy, based on what's happening on this week, because I just realized all my clients usually come with similar topics, although they're all living in different parts of the world. The energy that they come is always the same for that particular week. So this made me start to write newsletters about those energies of the week. So they can follow me through these newsletters if I do a meditation night, or if I talk about a book that I read, or if I want to give some extra tips about any type of the healing journey. I'm always sharing it through my newsletter. So if they just opt in the meditation in this in the show notes, they can reach out to my newsletters. And from social media, I'm only using Instagram and LinkedIn. I'm active on those two accounts.
Perfect. So we will definitely put all your links under the episode so that our listeners can directly connect to you after listening to us. So thank you very much, Gül, for being on Ideas and Leaders. It was very inspiring conversation. Thank you, and good luck with what you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to share all these things.
Thank you for listening to Ideas and Leaders podcast. Did you enjoy this episode? Let me know that you listened by tagging me in your LinkedIn profile and using a hashtag Ideas and Leaders. See you in the next episode.